Two countries, one room, one line drawn across a map, and just like that, they divided the entire world between them. No war, no vote, no one else was asked. Just two kings, a pope, and an agreement that changed the course of human history forever. And the craziest part? It actually worked. For a while. Let's go back to 1492. Everyone knows the story. Columbus sails west looking for Asia. He doesn't find Asia. He finds something nobody in Europe knew existed. Land. Massive, endless, uncharted land. He plants a Spanish flag and sails back to tell the king and queen of Spain, "We found something." Spain immediately starts planning how to claim it. But there's a problem. Portugal. Portugal had been exploring the world for decades before Spain even started. They had roots down the coast of Africa. They were pushing toward India. They had a head start, experience, and ambition. And the moment Columbus came back with news of new land, Portugal said, "Wait, that might be ours." The two countries were on the edge of war. Both claimed the right to explore and colonize whatever was out there. Both had powerful navies. Both had money. Both had ambition. So they did what powerful people do when they don't want to fight each other. They called in a referee, the Pope. In 1493, Pope Alexander VI, a man who was many things, none of them modest, drew a line. A vertical line across the Atlantic Ocean. Everything west of the line, Spain's. Everything east of the line, Portugal's. That was it. That was the deal. A man in Rome drew a line on a map of an ocean he had never seen, dividing land that neither country had fully explored, belonging to people who were never consulted. And both kingdoms said, "Yes, fine, that works." But Portugal wasn't happy. The line was too far east. Spain got most of the New World. Portugal got Africa and the route to Asia, which was valuable, but still. So Portugal pushed back. Negotiations happened. Diplomats argued. Maps were redrawn. In 1494, Spain and Portugal sat down in a small Spanish town called Tordesillas, and they redrew the line, moved it further west, signed the Treaty of Tordesillas. Two countries, one treaty, the whole world divided. Nobody else was invited. Not England, not France, not the millions of people already living on the land being carved up. Just Spain and Portugal, splitting the planet like two kids dividing a pizza. Here's where it gets fascinating. The line was supposed to cut through the Atlantic, but nobody knew exactly how big the world was. Nobody knew what was on the other side. So when Portugal started exploring eastward, sailing around Africa, pushing toward India and Asia, they accidentally ended up touching the other side of the New World. A Portuguese explorer named Pedro Álvares Cabral was sailing south along Africa in 1500 and drifted too far west. He hit land that, according to the treaty line, fell just barely on Portugal's side. That land was Brazil, the largest country in South America, Portugal's by accident. The treaty they had drawn up 6 years earlier, arguing over a line in the ocean, had accidentally given them Brazil without anyone realizing it. Now think about what this means. Every Spanish-speaking country in Latin America, Mexico, Colombia, Argentina, Chile, Peru, Spain's side of the line, Brazil, the one country in South America that speaks Portuguese. Portugal's side, that border, that language difference, that cultural divide that exists to this day, comes from two kings arguing over a line in 1494. A line drawn by men who had never seen most of what they were dividing. A line that shaped the language, religion, culture, and identity of hundreds of millions of people, who had no idea any of this was happening. And the rest of the world? France, England, the Netherlands? They watched all of this and said, "Excuse me, who gave Spain and Portugal the whole world? We didn't sign that treaty." And they were right, they hadn't. So they ignored it. England started colonizing North America. France took chunks of Canada and the Caribbean. The Netherlands built their own empire across Asia. The Treaty of Tordesillas turned out to be enforceable only as long as Spain and Portugal were the most powerful countries in the world. The moment they weren't, the line disappeared. Spain and Portugal dominated global exploration for about 100 years. Then England rose, then France, then the Dutch, and the neat little division of the world. Two kingdoms, one line, collapsed into 400 years of colonial warfare, rivalry, and empire building that shaped the modern world entirely. All of it started in a room in 1494. Two kings, one treaty, a line nobody asked permission to draw. Here's the part that still gets me. We live in a world shaped by that line right now. The reason Brazilians speak Portuguese and Mexicans speak Spanish is because of a treaty signed by people who had never visited either place. The reason certain countries are Catholic, certain trade routes exist, certain borders are where they are, traces back to two kingdoms deciding they owned everything. They didn't ask, they just decided. And the world never quite recovered from that decision. Like, subscribe, and go impress someone with this useless knowledge. See you next video.